Hello everyone! In this video, I'm going to be showing you all about ClassIn version 5.0. This is a new update from ClassIn, and you're going to be seeing the words LMS, or the letters LMS. And if you're not familiar with what an LMS is, it stands for Learning Management System. And if you're not familiar with what a learning management system is, it's basically a system that helps pull all of student performance, student data, student work, organizes it into one place for the teacher and for the student to look at overall performance of the student. So ClassIn has reorganized their structure of their app to help the teacher and the student effectively look at all of their data. So keep in mind, if you don't use all of the features that are in this new version, it might not affect you as much as some other teachers. So looking at the app, you will first glance think it looks exactly the same. The first main page that you see will look the same. There is nothing changed here. Everything on the left, you still see all of your classrooms. So let's take a look at what will be different in version 5.0. So when I scroll down to a class, and this is a class that I just created to test out using this new version, you're going to notice that the top tabs look a little bit different. We still have the chat tab is still over here on the left, and the file tab is still the same over here on the right. But after the chat tab, you now have a tab that says course. Remember, in our previous version, the course is where you saw all the list of all of your classes. That is now different. Well, you will see the list of all of your classes will now be under lesson. So all of your lessons that you create for that class will be under the lesson tab. You will also see that there's a tab that says grades, and we'll take a quick look at that. This isn't something I've had a lot of chance to look at because I haven't had a chance to use it with any actual students. So I only have my one test that I did. So let's take a look at this course tab and what it is and how it is different from what we have now. So the thing I like about the course tab is that this is a place where you can put everything that you're sending to the student before class or after class, and it all can be found in one place. If you are like me and you send a preview video or a preview link before class, and then after class, you might send homework or you might send additional videos for practice. Before, I was sending these all in different places. I was sending the preview in the chat, then I was sending the homework in the task, and then sometimes I would send a test that was under the test tab. So I would have to go to multiple places to send this, and the student was having to go to multiple places to find all of this data, all of this stuff I was sending them. But now there's a way to organize it to where it's all in one place, and that's going to be under the course. So if you don't send homework, you don't send previews, you don't use the test, you might not even use this tab, which is fine, but it's good for teachers like me that send different types of assignments to my student. So I made just a test one here, just to show you what it might look like. And you're going to notice that I have this heading. This is called a unit. If I click on create, you're going to see the word unit here. Everything is grouped into units, but don't let the word unit confuse you. It doesn't have to be an actual unit that you're learning. So for example, I teach the Learning curriculum, and they are grouped into levels and units and lessons. I don't have to use the unit for Learning as my unit on ClassIn. The unit on ClassIn is whatever I want to group all of my resources, all of my activities together in one place. So the way I plan to use the unit is actually by lesson. So what I did was I created a unit called LL 3.2.1, which just stands for Learning Level 3, Unit 2, Lesson 1. And then under that unit, I can put every resource that I want the student to have all in one place. So you can see I have my preview, I have a video for the phonics, I have the homework, I have another homework assignment for writing, and I have the class that we actually created and we had together with the student. So keep in mind the class. You don't have to add the class to the unit. And the reason I am not going to do that is because you cannot, I have the business version, and if you have the business version of ClassIn, you can go onto your account on the website and do batch adding of classes. Well, if you do that on the website, you can't put those into a unit, which is okay. It's nice having the lesson with my unit because everything is in one place, but you can still just create a lesson under the lesson tab. So I can just add a lesson just like I did before under the lesson tab, or you can create the lesson with your unit. You don't have to though, just keep that in mind, it's not required. So I have all of my resources under this one unit. And the reason this is excellent for me as the teacher is now, instead of having to click on every little tab that I sent them something and checking if they completed it, I can just go to the course tab and I can look, viewed. I can see the student viewed the preview. They viewed the video. They submitted this homework and they submitted this homework. And over here, I can see that I need to review this homework assignment. The other one I already reviewed. This one I still need to review. And I can look at the teaching report if I create the lesson in the unit. So everything is in one place. And it's all in one place for the student as well. If I click on, I think it's the the little, looks like a cap, the student view, I can see what the student sees. So here's Kendall student, and they are able to see the unit, and they're also able to see the resources. But notice theirs look a little different because theirs say they viewed it, and then they can see their grade for any assignments that I have graded and submitted for the ones that I have not reviewed yet, and their attendance. So the student is able to see the same thing that I can see. You also can move the resources around. I like that because if there's something they didn't complete, I might want to move it up to the top. And if I move it up to the top, they also see it up at the top. The student cannot move those up and down. Only the teacher can move the assignments around. So I control that, not the student. So now that I showed you how I'm organizing my resources, I'm going to show you how to add those resources. And there are a few new resources as well that I may or may not use in the future. So to add a unit, and it's important to know you can add 100 units per class. That's separate from lessons. Whatever your lessons that you're able to add, depending on what version of ClassIn you have, that is not changing. It's just the units, 100 units per class. So first, I'm going to add a unit. So when I click on Create Unit, I give it a unit name. This is why I said it doesn't have to be a real unit that you're teaching. It could be anything you want to group your resources together in one place. So let's say I'm now teaching the next lesson. So I would name this Learning 3.2.2. And then you can add a description. So this one I believe is winter clothes, and I could even add the vocabulary words so the parent can see that and the student can see that. But I'm just going to keep it as winter clothes, and I'm going to click Post. The unit has been posted. So you can see here, just like I can move the activities in the unit up and down, I can also move the units up and down. So this is the newest unit. I would want to move it to the top. That's how I would do it personally. And that way the student will also see it at the top. So now it says create learning activity. I don't have to do them all at one time. I can add them, the previews before class, and then I can wait till after class to add any homework assignments that I want to add. Or you can put everything in there before class starts. So if I click on create learning activity, Classroom is adding a lesson. So if you want to add a lesson to your class, you can click on it here. So I have the lesson name I can change. Just like before, it's very similar to the previous version. Not much has changed. The main difference is going to be over here. So I can choose what unit or add a unit. I can choose the students, and then we have the competencies. And I'll talk a little bit about that. I haven't had a lot of chance to explore that yet, so I'm not going to get into much detail. And then show progress and grades, and then I can post. I'm not going to do that because, like I said, I'm not going to add the lessons to the units. I'm going to do that separate. So I also have a task. The tasks, if you've ever used tasks before or seen my task video, this is basically homework. I prefer to put the homework in there after our class because I don't want them trying to do the homework before we've had the lesson, but you could always add that before class. And then we have the test, which is the same as the test before. Again, I prefer to do all of that after class, not before class. And then we have this recorded course. This is something brand new. With the recorded course, you can add any type of video that you want. And this is designed for if a teacher wanted to try to sell recorded lessons. Let's say you have your full with your students that you teach one-on-one on ClassIn, but you have other students that are interested. You could try selling recorded lessons that you record on ClassIn or any other recording program that you have, and then you could upload the video in here. And then you could have the student add the student to a class, and then they could view that video from this unit. And it's not downloadable, which is important because, as we know, we don't want our resources being taken and being distributed to friends. So if you upload this video, they can view it on ClassIn, but they can't upload or download the video on their own device. Again, this is not something I'm going to be using anytime soon, but it's something I could think about for the future. And then we have the discussion. This is also new. Think of like your page on Facebook. So you can start a discussion. The discussion name, let's say we're learning about clothes, so I might want to call it clothes. Enter discussion content. What are you wearing today? And this could be something that goes on between lessons. So this might be a conversation that I start, and then I might tell the student each day they can go on and they can participate in this discussion by clicking on it. And then they can answer the question, and then I can comment on their response, and we can just have a conversation back and forth. Again, kind of like on Facebook, having a conversation on your Facebook page. So it's something added. You don't have to use it, but it's a great way to keep the student engaging in their learning between classes. And if you teach group classes, your students can communicate with each other on the discussion. Now you can see that little plus sign disappeared. So because I've already added one thing. So now if I want to add anything else to this unit, I can go over here. So it's right across from the title. There's a little plus sign. And here I can add more activities. And the last one are the resources. So if I click on resources, and this one I really like because this is where I would put my previews or any other videos that are going to help supplement what they're learning, like phonics videos or songs related to the topic. So here I could just type in the word preview, and then I could just write watch preview before class. And then I could, whatever type of preview you send, it could be a link, it could be a file on your computer, PDF, PowerPoint, an image, anything that you want, any type of document or picture or even sound that you can have them preview listening to you saying the words. So whatever you wanted to send before or after class can go in the create resources. So when I post that, I can of course change any of the start time. I can have a deadline if I wanted to complete it by a certain date, or leave it as no deadline. And post. And I can send multiple of the same type of activity. So if I have another resource, I like to keep everything separate. Like for homework, if I have 3 different homework assignments, I don't like to put them into one. And the reason I do that is because I want to see that each one has been looked at and completed, and sometimes my students don't want to complete all of their homework at one time. They might not have time to do all of it, so they might want to do one assignment, submit that, and then do another assignment another day. So I like to keep all my assignments and resources separate. So if I wanted to send another resource before or after class, I can just add as many resources as I want, and they would all show up under the unit that I've created. So here I can minimize it, make it expanded, and then up here I have all the activity types. I have a filter if you end up with a lot of information, a lot of units. I have details here or contents, all that does is minimizes some of the details under your activities if you don't need to see everything. The detailed one shows you if they participated. So you can see my student has not looked at the discussion or participated. The student has not viewed the preview. And this is great for me because I like to know what the students look at and what they don't look at. When I used to send the previews in the chat, I had no idea if they even looked at it. So now I am able to see, yes, my student checked the preview and they are ready for class. And then of course I have the student view with the little cap and my settings. Let's see, in the settings is where I have my evaluation settings. I'm not going to go into this because I have not had a chance to really look into it and figure out if this is something that I want to use with my students. But if I take a look at it later and decide to start using it, I can definitely make a video showing you more about the evaluation settings. So now I have all of my activities under my unit and my lesson. Again, I'm just going to create my lessons with my business version, batch add them on the website, or if you don't have the business version, you can add them under your lessons just like normal. So now you can see my old unit I created and I had my students submit it, and I can go to grades. The grades are going to show you everything that the student has completed. So I'm able to see the preview, the video, the homework. And as I continue to add more activities, you're going to see everything all in one place. And again, the student and their parents are also able to see everything that they have completed. So it's a great way to keep everything that you have organized all in one place. So the most important thing to remember is the lessons. If you want to add a lesson and you don't want to deal with the units, just keep adding your lessons to the lesson tab. Nothing there has changed. If you see this little green classroom, that just means that this lesson is in a unit. So if I created a lesson not in a unit, I'll just make one for next week and create. You will see it just doesn't have that green classroom box after it. So this lesson is separate. It's not going to show up in my unit, but they don't need to. I'm not worried about having the classroom in my unit. It's nice because the parent can also look at the teaching report or the learning report and I can see it. But for me, it's just too much work having to add them individually in the units when I can batch add them on the website. So that's all I'm going to go into today because I don't want to add too much information. This, I think, is just the most important thing that you need to know starting off with version 5.0. Oh, one other thing I did want to look at, the classroom. The only thing that has changed in the classroom, and I'll create one really fast, is enter. So there are no new tools, no new way to enter a classroom. Everything with the classroom is pretty much the same. The only thing that you will notice that is different is you will have an LMS button. So remember I told you this is an LMS that they're creating. When I click on that LMS button, it pulls up the course, everything that I created under course. And the student can also see this in the classroom as well. And the reason I really like this too is because I can talk to my student about their work. So and since this is new, I might want to pull this up to show the student what they need to be looking for to complete their assignments. So I can show them, you need to click on LL 3.2.2 and you need to click on the close to make sure you're participating in the discussion, show them where to find the preview, and it's great to be able to discuss that in class, and you can check their homework. So if I click on the one that's been completed, I can go over their homework with them and click on it, and we can have that discussion in class without having to go to multiple different places or to screen share. So I like that I'm able to have everything all in one place for the student and for the teacher. I think it's going to make it a lot easier for our students to find all their work and for me to check all their work all in the same place. Hopefully there's no confusion about this new version. Like I said, I'm still learning how to use it myself, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of things that I'm going to figure out after it is released and all the students start using it with me. If you have any questions or there's anything that you find that you're still confused about, please let me know and I'll try to make some more videos about those other features. Bye everyone!